Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Ezekiel chapter 43, we see the glory of the Lord returning back to the temple. It had left in chapter 11, the glory of the Lord had left Jerusalem, but now the glory of the Lord is returning from the same direction. And this demonstrates God's desire to dwell among his people. Even though they had done things that were completely against his desire and his will, even though for centuries they had rebelled against him, been involved in idolatrous acts, and had done things that would provoke the Lord. Still, after it was all said and done, the Lord returns. And this shows the love and grace of God. But it also shows us some other things as well. It shows us that sometimes the Lord has to discipline us in order to return to us and restore a relationship with us. It was no easy path for the glory of the Lord to come back. There was a lot of destruction. There was a lot of punishment, a lot of discipline that the Lord had laid upon his people. He needed to cleanse his people of all the unrighteousness and to correct them so that he could restore a relationship with them and return to them. And this is a very important point about God's discipline. God's discipline and God's correction is restorative. It's for the purpose of restoration. It's not just so that God can vent and get his anger out and just direct his anger towards somewhere because he's mad. God's discipline, God's punishment is for a purpose. And it is so that he can restore people back to him. And we see that here. But it also shows that the presence of the Lord also requires something of people as well. The presence of the Lord came back to the temple, but that in no way means that the people could just carry on the way that they did before. In our reading today, we really see how they would have to tote the line, that there were specific instructions for the priesthood, specific instructions for the prince. They would have to follow all these different instructions with the sacrifices and the rituals and the worship. And that would be the means by which they could maintain this connection to God. And this teaches us a little bit about our relationship with the Lord, that we can't expect that the presence of the Lord will be with us and near us, comforting us, strengthening us, helping us, when all the while we're rebelling against God. And then all the while we're walking away from God and rejecting God and rejecting his instructions and his corrections. The presence of the Lord, yes, is based solely upon the grace of God to some degree, but at the same time, we must be receptive of it. The Lord's not going to dwell in a place where he's not wanted. And so we too have a call to holiness, to righteousness, to obedience, if we want the presence of the Lord to really be manifested in our lives. And so these are basically two truths that we learn from this. Well, actually three truths we could say. One, that the Lord desires to dwell among his people. Two, that sometimes he has to correct us in order to restore the relationship so that he can dwell with us. And then thirdly, that him coming to dwell with us is a call for us to live a higher standard of life and of living, and to live a life that is receptive to the indwelling and the dwelling of God in our lives. So today, let's be thankful that we have a God who does want to dwell with us. And even when we go through seasons of rebelling against him, he still wants to come back to us. He still wants a relationship with us. And he might have to correct us. He might have to put us back on the right track so that he can manifest himself to us. But he does want to he does want to live with us and to help us in this journey of life. And then we also need to turn to the Lord and open up our hearts to the Lord and submit to the Lord so that his presence can be manifested to us all the more. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.